Hello everyone, welcome to our next class. In our last class, we discussed about cache mapping schemes, and the scheme which we had discussed, that was direct mapping. Now in direct mapping, we have discussed how we are able to read the data, how we are able to write the data, how we are able to search the data from RAM and cache. So we discussed all these topics. Now, there are some problems related with the direct mapping. Now, what are those problems? So, if you have seen it properly, on a one location, we are going to have index as well as we are having something known as tag. So, tag was there, we were having line number, we were having words, so and we were having blocks. So, tag was there, we were having block after this, and we were having block offset or word. And what was the condition? At one time, in one space, like at one tag, only one block can be present. So we can't have multiple number of blocks with the same tag. So that was a problem. Like if your memory was storing the block B0 and you required the data from block 4, so it was not possible because at one time either B0 block will be there or B4 block will be there because it is all related to your tag. So at one time only one block can be stored at a particular location inside the memory. So that was a small problem with direct mapping. Now this problem was overcome by using another type of memory which is known as set associative memory. Now in set associative memory, what we have data. It is just a octal representation of everything, like for data, for tag as well as for index. So we have a setup in which instead of having a single tag at a single index, now we are having multiple tags at a single address. So this is one tag. This can be known as tag 1. For this, we have a particular data to store, whereas we have the second tag, and in this tag, we have a separate data. So, at a particular index, for one index, we are having multiple number of tags available. So, you can just write it as index. So for a single index, we will be having multiple tags present and those multiple tags will contain multiple data. So in this case, let us discuss about the example which they have given. You can have different example than this. So it is up to you how you want to write it. So the first value which they are talking about, that is the index is all 000. The first tag which is used, that is 01, and there is some data related to it. Then we have another tag 02 and there is certain data 5670. Then there is another example in which we are having the index of 777 and this is 6710. So tag is 02, data is 6710, tag is 00 and data is 2340. So this is the data. So this is the total storage which they are using. Now in this case, what is happening for a index, like if we are searching for a address inside the RAM, like we want to search for a address. So how we are going to search? So first of all, we will have some value. This is the value which we are searching for. So we are using a 5-bit value to search. Now, how it will be done? The search will be done on the basis of this. This will be your index, and this will be tag. So, your CPU will search for it inside your value, inside your memory. If it is 000, index is same, then tag will be compared. And how the tag will be compared? It will be compared with the help of associative matching, like which we have done at this place. Like argument register is there, and we will be using a associative type of search to match the tags. That is why its name is associative mapping. The logic which we are going to use for matching the tags and index is associative. So that is why it is known as associative mapping. So this tag will be compared. And if we are able to find it, then it is fine. If we are not able to find it, then we have to replace the data. Now, even if this is 0, 1, but this value is 0, 2, now the tag is changing. Tag has changed, but still the index is same. So index will be compared. Yes, index is same. Then the tag will be compared with firstly with the first value. If it is matching, it is fine. Then the tag will be searched for second place. Like if it is matching at this place, then this data will be picked. So this is how we are going to search the data. Now, by having multiple tags for a same index, it reduces your probability of not finding the data. So mostly if you are having multiple tags stored in inside a single index, it is more possible, its possibility will be higher that you will find that data inside the same index. This is how we are going to use the multiple tags in the set associative memory. So when why it is known as set associative, it might be this one is two set associative memory. Now why it is known as two set associative? Because we are having two tags stored. We can have three set associative memory. We can have four set associative memory. So there can be multiple number of tags which can be stored for a particular location. And according to that, your name will change for the set associative mapping. Generally, we call it as K set associative, where K can vary from 1 to certain value n. But there is always a trade-off. Now, what is that trade-off? If we are increasing the number of tags, we need to have a complex matching formula for that. We need to have a complex method to compare these tags. It will be a more complex work to increase that to compare that values, and certainly it will become very difficult for you to compare the values, and thus it will reduce the performance of your RAM. So always there should be a balance between the number of tags which we are going to store and the size of your the speed and performance of your RAM. So there is a trade-off between both of them. Now let us discuss what is the benefit of this. The benefit, as we have discussed already as well. So tag, if we are having multiple tags, it is easy to find. Now the next thing is how to find out what is the size of this RAM, size of this memory which we are using. So as we have already discussed, this one bit which we are using, it is representing three bits in it, like it is a octal representation. So if it is a octal representation, we are having for data, we are having 4 bits, and each bit is representing 3 bits. So total number of bits which we require are 12. For storing the tag, this will be 3 plus 3 6, so 2 into 3 6. So 12 plus 6 is 18. Like to store one tag, we require 18 bits or 18 number of values. So then this is also 18. So 18 plus 18 is 32, which means if we have the value 777, it is actually representing how many values? 777. It means each bit is representing 3 bits, so 0 0 0, or you can say this will be 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. So all the 9 values are 1 1 1. So if all the 9 values are 1, it is 1 2 4 8 16 32 64 128. 256. So 256 plus 255. 511. Okay. So the total capacity will be 511 into 32. So that will be the total capacity which we are going to have. So according to that, we are going to search, like it will be 511, which means it is starting from 000. So it will be 512. So the total size of this memory is 512 into 32. But okay. So this is how we find out the capacity of this this cache. If we are having three tags, then according to that, one more 18 will be added with this, and according to that, we are going to find out the total capacity of your memory. So this is a set associative mapping. Now, after set associative mapping, let us move to the topic how we are going to write the data inside cache. Now, in previous classes, we discussed that whatsoever data is present inside cache, it should be present inside RAM. This is cache, this is RAM, and the data which is inside the RAM should also be present in hard disk. This is a must condition. We should have all the data whatsoever is in cache should be present in RAM, and all the data which is in RAM should be present in hard disk. So there is a condition about this. Now, suppose we have a CPU at this place. Now CPU has got some data, and that data was A. Now that data should be present with all, because it should be present in RAM, it should be present in cache. Then CPU started processing or fetched the data. There was a cache hit, and it picked the data A. Then it added it with the data which was B, which was inside the CPU, and now the answer has been updated to C. So it has calculated certain value, and that value was now C. A has been converted to C. Now how we are going to reflect the same value of C to all the different values, like inside the cache, how we are going to change inside the RAM and inside the hard disk. So how we are going to change this data? So that is what we are going to discuss. We have two methods to do that task. First one is write through and second is write back. So we will discuss about both of them. Now, once this data is changed, so this data will be changed at this place directly. Now this is changed. Now what will happen with all the other values? If we are not going to change that data inside RAM and cache, inside RAM and hard disk drive, it is going to create a inconsistency in the data. So your data will not be consistent. So that is something which you don't want to happen. So what you should do is you should either write back the data inside the RAM, or this data should be automatically changed, which will never happen. So that is simply you want to write that data which is changed by your CPU inside the RAM and inside the hard disk. Right? So they have given a method to do this. Let us just read it. So when writing into memory, memory is your RAM. They are referring to RAM. If hit, both cache and memory is written in parallel. Now what does it say? When cache is hit, like CPU was able to read this data from CPU was able to get the data from cache directly. Then what happens? Instead of just changing the data inside cache, we are going to change both the datas inside RAM as well. So the first update has happened. what we have talked about. So firstly, if there is a hit, then both the data will be updated in one go. If miss happens, only memory is written. For read miss, missing block may be overloaded into cache block. Now, what does it mean? Only RAM is written means you are going to write it inside the RAM, and after that you will get that data inside the cache. After this, memory is always updated, important when CPU and DMA both are executing slow due to the memory access time, because we are going to update that data, and then that data which is updated in RAM should also be updated in hard disk drive. So there are different schemes for that. So this is how we are going to update. Whenever there is a cache hit, then both of RAM and cache are written in one go. Whereas if there is a cache miss, the missing block we are going to get from the RAM to cache. So after that, the memory is updated. Now the next one is write back. This is the another approach. While we are writing, when writing into the memory, like when we want to write something in this, if hit, only cache is written. If we are able to find out the data, then only cache is written. This only thing is written. We are not going to update this. If miss happens, missing block is brought to memory and write into the cache. For the read miss, candidate block must be written back to the memory. Like in simple words, what we say is, in the case of write back, in the case of write back, we hold the data write back till the time we are not going to update this value. Till the time we are not updating it, we are going to hold that value. We don't write it inside the RAM. But in the case of write through, whenever this data is updated, it will be written to the RAM at the same time. But in this case, while it is write back, we are going to hold the data till the time we are not going to perform, or we are not going to replace this data from cache. Now that is what a difference between write back and write through is in simple words. Okay. So see, in the second one, that is why they are saying memory is not up to the date. The same item in cache and memory may have different values. Why? Now see, it might be possible in the case of write back that this value was A, but this value is now C, and we are not going to replace it. But when we are going to replace this value by some new value, then we will update it in RAM. Whereas in the case of write through, whatsoever value is updated, like if C is updated now, C plus N is now Q. If this is the value, cache will be written as well as RAM will be written. Both will be written at the same time. But in the case of write back, it might be possible you were able to find the data at this place. It was updated, but we are not replacing this value. Till the time we are not replacing this value will remain as C inside the RAM. And whenever we are going to replace this value by some new data, then it will be updated inside the RAM. So that is what a difference is there between write through and write back. Write back will hold the operation till the time we are not going to replace this item from cache. If there is any miss happens, then we update that data. So that is what they are saying. If missing block is brought to cache and write into the cache. For read miss, candidate block must be written back to the memory. Like whatsoever data we are searching, we are not able to find it, then it means we need to bring some new data from RAM or some other place. Whenever we are going to bring any new data to this place, we have to replace the existing ones. While we are replacing the existing values, then we have to update. That is why I'm saying in simple words, it is simply update it whenever there is a read miss inside cache. So that is what we have in write through and write back. After write through and write back, the next thing which we are going to study, that is how we are going to transfer the data between RAM and hard disk drive. So we have talked about the cache and RAM, how cache and RAM is mapped so that you can use the same address to access cache and same address lines to access RAM by using the same address. Now, how RAM and hard disk drive interact with each other, so we are going to talk about that thing. Now, in this diagram, you can see what they are telling. We have a program which we are executing and which is stored inside the auxiliary memory. So we have shifted some data out of it from auxiliary memory to main memory. Main memory is your RAM. The size of your auxiliary memory or hard disk drive is 1024K, which is 2 raised to the power 20 are required. This is just a small hard disk drive. Then for main memory, the size is 32K, which is 2 raised to the power 15 spaces. Why? Because 2 raised to the power 15 will be around 32K, and 2 raised to the power 20 will be equivalent to 1024K. So this is how we are now going to process this. Now, in how we are going to describe this, let us draw a diagram for this. Now, this is your hard disk drive. In hard disk drive, we call the storage spaces as page. Whereas when we talk about RAM, we called them blocks. If you remember about the direct mapping, we call them block. Whereas in cache, we call them lines. There were something like storage blocks, and we call them line. This is one line, line two, line three, line four, or line zero, line one, line two. Similarly, we were having block zero, block one, block two, block three, block four. Now, inside hard disk drive, they will be known as pages. Instead of calling them block, we are going to call them page. So in this, n is 8k, which means we are having 2 raised to the power 13 number of pages, whereas in that we are having 2 raised to the power 12. So what does it mean? In each page, if there are 8k, it means one starting in one page, we are able to store 1024 you can say words, okay, into groups of 1k words. That is what it is saying, that one page at this place is one page can store 1024 words in it. That is why, that is how we are going to check this. See how we have got this 7 pages in this case. Why? How we have got that? It is simply, what is the total number of address space which we are having? That is 8k. So 8k divided by 1k. Answer is 8. So there are 8 pages starting from page 0 to page 7. Same for block. In one block, in one block, 1k words can be stored. In this case, in one block, 1k words can be stored. So we are having 4 blocks in this. How we get that value? It is simply dividing 4k by 1k. Answer is 4. So there are 4 blocks starting from block 0 to block 3. So this is how we are going to split the space between hard disk drive, block, and similarly, if we are having a line, lines are for RAM. sorry, for cache. So in one line, if there are four blocks, we can have even smaller RAM as compared to that. Sorry, smaller cache as compared to that. So we can have, like, if this is the line and we are having two lines in this, we can store like B0 at this place, B1 here, B2 this, and B3 at this place. So this is also a small line. So in this line, how many values are there? Only two lines are there. So line numbers will be only a single bit which will be representing a line. If we want to represent block, we will be having two bits. If we are representing the hard disk drive, we will be having three bits. So that is how we are going to design the address space for hard disk drive, block, and line. Now, about line and block, how these are mapped. So we have talked about that already. We spent 1 hour on this, how we are going to access line and block by using the same address space. Now let us talk about the block and hard disk drive. Okay, how we are going to map these two. So we are going to talk about this. We call it as virtual memory as well. So we are going to discuss that in virtual memory. So how it is going to work. So when we talk about physical memory, now this is the address mapping which we were talking about. We are having a memory map table. We have a main memory and we have our page numbers. Now this is virtual memory. We will discuss this later on, but what we have started from this place, I will explain that first. Okay, so these are the page numbers. The slide is a little bit out of sequence. So this is the page number. This is the block which we are having. So we are having a separate block for this. Then these are the page numbers which are represented at this place. This is our buffer value where we are going to store that which data is present inside the main memory. We have something known as page numbers, like, which are going to represent these values: 0001, 001, 010, 011, and their status inside the main memory, whether they are actually present or not. So line number is going to just tell you whether that block is present or not. Okay, this 01 will tell you which block we are talking about. Okay, so let us, I will just try to explain this by using the same example which they have discussed. So I will be explaining it by using that same example of page numbers. So in this we have page number, and we have something known as line number. Now, this line number, that is why I was telling you that in this representation, when we are talking about your book, they have used the line number to map between hard disk drive and block. Whereas in some other books or in some other reference studies, they have used the block offset in cache and line number in this. Okay, so but in what we did, we have used the line number at that place. So you can just change your representation. But at this place, you can use the line number only. So, but if you go through with your book, then you should use line number here, and at that place you can use word value. Now, what is line number? Line number is going to tell you out of 1024 words, which word we are talking about. So what is there? Like we have discussed that one page is there, and one page is containing 1K words. So how many bits are required to refer all those 1024 words. How many bits are required? If you want to calculate that, simply do it like 2 raised to the power 10. It is 1024. To refer all those 1024 words, you will need 10 bits. Okay. So this line number is representing all those 10 bits which we need to refer that one word inside, either inside block or inside the page, because both page and block are having 1k words in it. So one block is having 1024 words, one page is having 1024 words. To refer that 1024 words, we will need 10 bits. So in this case, they have referred it like 01, 01, 01, 0011. So there are 10 different values in it. Then after this, we are going to talk about page number. Now, page number is, in this case, there are how many pages? We have 8 pages in this. To refer all these 8 pages, how many bits are required? 3. 2 raised to the power 3 is 8. So 2 raised to the power 3 is 8. So this can be any value. It doesn't need to be 101. It can be anything starting from 000 to 111. After this, inside this memory, what we have something known as your these block or these numbers which we get from your map table. Okay, so this 1 1 represents that it is block, sorry, this 00 represents that this is block 00. So let me just make this as well. So there are 4 blocks. So there is some numbering like 00 for this, 01 for this, 10 and 11. So this is the numbering which we have. Then inside the page, at this place, we have different values which we can store and something known as presence bit. This presence bit tells that whether that block is present inside the memory or not. So like if this is 000, this is 001, 010, so and so on up to 111. So 011. Just it will be easy for you. Okay, get left with 1. So now these are the memory. This is the page numbers for your hard disk drive, and we are having something known as presence bit. This presence bit only tells us whether that page is present inside the memory or not. Like if this presence bit is 1, it is specifying that yes, this page is present, and along with it, it will also tell at what block it is present. So at which block it is present, that will be specified at this place, and whether it is present or not will be specified by this. Okay. So at this place, if it is 11, 10, 00, and 01, so it specifies that this 110 address, like this 110, this is present at memory location this. Like this block of memory or these 1k words which we have at this place at 110 address, or you can say at the sixth page number is stored at second block of your main memory. So that is what it is telling. This is telling that this block, which is sixth page number data, is present at the second block inside the main memory. This is specifying that this fourth uh, page number is stored at 00 block. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to convert these 3 different bits into 2 bits, and then we are going to search this at this place inside the line number. Because if we want to search between 1024 words, we can directly use the line number. Line number is going to tell us that which word out of 1024 words we are going to search. That is what it is going to tell, the line number. And these bits which we have, it is going to tell us which block we are going to search for that data. Like if I want to refer this, it will be in 01, and the word or line number will be same whichever line number we are talking. Okay, so now this is referring to this place. That is how we are going to fetch the data. So now by using the same number of bits, we are able to access hard disk drive as well as your main memory. So for main memory, we were requiring 12 bits, 2 raised to the power 12, and for hard disk drive, we were requiring 13 values. So we have converted those 3 bits which we were having for page number to 2 bits as a block number. So those 12 bits were reduced, 13 bits were reduced to 12 bits to provide you with the access to use the same address for your main memory as well as for your hard disk. So that is how we are going to create a link between RAM and your hard disk. This is how we work with address space and memory space, which we are going to perform. Okay. So this setup is also shown at this place. How this mapping is done. We have a virtual address register. We have a memory mapping table. So this is known as your memory mapping table. This is known as a virtual address which we create. Then memory map table. Then physical address, and then we are going to search for main memory. Okay. Then this is a virtual address generated by your programs. Then we have physical address which we have, this is known as address space, this is known as virtual address or logical address. Inside the memory we use it as memory space, and we also call it as physical address. So address will be known as physical address. On the virtual side we will call it as virtual address, and here we are using address space, and here we call it memory space. This virtual memory simply gives the programmer the illusion that the system has very large memory, even though the computer actually has a relatively small memory. So that is what we have in virtual memory, and this is how we are going to perform the mapping. Now if you want to change the virtual memory of your computer, how you can do that? This is how you are going to check what type of different task manager which you are having, what type of memories you are having. You are never specified with any kind of virtual memory at this place. They are not going to show you anything in this that there is something known as virtual memory, because we only use RAM and hard disk drive. But there is something known as virtual memory, so we will just discuss that. Go to properties of your computer, then go to advanced system settings. Then you have something known as performance. This is your virtual memory. A paging file is an area on hard drive that uses as if it were RAM. This is the place where you can change your virtual memory of your computer. So virtual memory simply gives you an illusion that you are able to use your RAM as your hard drive as RAM. So that is why we are using the same address in both of them. So it gives you a illusion that you are using the same address to refer memory, your hard disk drive, as well as your RAM. So you are going to use the same value or same number of bits to access this or this. So that is why it is giving illusion to the user or to the programmer that it is having a lot of memory available. So that is how we are using virtual memory. Then we have associated page mappings. We will do it in the next class. We are not going to do it now. Thank you everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. See you in the next class.